There are a few different types of people in this world, but I feel like on my years of travel and experiencing humans and understanding them, I feel like there are two that really stand out for me. And I feel like there are givers in this world and there are takers. So that's really what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about givers and I want to talk about takers. And I want to talk about understanding that about yourself and also understanding that about others, just to save you from yourself and also save you from others. Let me dive right in. I find that people who give consistently will somewhere down the road get taken from and getting taken advantage of. So I want to go in on that one first. People who give, it's a beautiful thing. I'm a giver myself. Um, I think when you give, it's really important to understand that you're opening up yourself to be taken advantage of by a taker. Doesn't mean you are going to be taken advantage of. It just means that you open yourself up to be taken advantage of. And that's important to really recognize, because I find that a lot of us can have such given natures and waste a lot of time. So like, you might see the potential in somebody, you might be in a business that you see the growth in, but it's really, really important to understand the people that you're working with or understand the person you're working with in order to not waste time. Also it's for your mental well-being, because when you give, you can give to somebody and then you could be taken from. Okay, yeah, the first time I feel like it's kind of like a breakup. The first time, yeah, it hurts, ow, but you're not going to stop who you are. You're going to continue giving. And then what happens is it happens two, three, four times, and then your heart gets colder and turns a little bit more to stone. And then before you know it, you're confused. You're not sure whether to take. You're not sure how to give. You're not sure, like, so you kind of hold yourself back and you're not being the true version of yourself. This is why it's really important to understand, when you are a giver, how to give. Because when you give your love, regardless of what it is, if you give your time, that's you giving your love. If you give finances, that's you giving your love. If you give words of wisdom, that's you giving your love. If you give that, you have to understand that you're giving that with no intention of receiving anything back. But also, it's really important to be aware of how much time you give to that specific thing. It's really important to do that. Takers, we're indulging about takers because this is an interesting one. There are takers in this world, people who just take, they'll smile in your face the whole time they want to take your place, and you'll have a lot of people around you who will just be trying to milk the cow. And, they'll pretend to you that they might be your best friend, or, they'll do things that will, on the surface, give you that kind of certificate that this person might be legit. But remember what they say, man, if you're too legit to quit, then quit, So these people will just continue to take from you till they've bled you dry. May that be, your positive vibes, may that be your financials, that could be absolutely anything. Like takers are very scary people in this world, but it's not about being fearful of them. It's just about being aware of them so you can understand how to tackle these people. Or you might be the best of both worlds. You might be a giver and a taker. I feel like the best of both worlds is a giver and a taker, because, you can give, but also you can take, so you can take information, and, you can take knowledge, I don't know, take, things that are going to benefit you in life. There's so many things you can take off of people, but it depends on how you take these things. I feel like it's important that you recognize that takers will take continuously until you're bled dry. It's about the importance of understanding that someone has to give you both. In any relationship, in any business transaction, in anything you do in life, it's important to understand that it's a kind of a push and pull mechanism. You give, I give, you give, I give, you give, I give. You cannot be in a relationship if one person is doing 10% and the other person is doing 90%. After a while, the one person who's doing 90% is going to feel undervalued. So it's important to understand, with the push and pull, with the take and give, mechanism that you are kindly balanced. And if you do take, it's about being aware of that, understanding that, and owning up to that. If you're a taker, I used to be a taker a lot. I used to. When I was young, I used to just take from people because I was always a giver at the start. And then I was hurt because I didn't understand why I just give my love and why I'd give every part of me and people would just take it from me. And I couldn't understand it. So then I went through many, many years of just taking from people, just hurting people. And then what ended up happening was, that all came back to me. And when it did, it was like a whirlwind of emotions, and I had to sit with that for a few years. And I've leveled up to the level where I am now, where I am my old self, where I am a giver, but I'm also very calculated with my giving. I kind of look at myself like a door. You open up one door, and you will always get me. Like, this is me. This is the first door you will always get. Very content, very open, and just a very warm version of myself. But to open up the second door, I have to see that you've hit certain boxes, you've ticked them, and you know what? Yeah, okay, cool. We'll open up the second door, and there's many, many doors in my mental state and person that you have to open up to understand different layers of me. But that's the enjoyment, Like, what if you just got a present, yeah, and it wasn't wrapped? People enjoy unwrapping a present because it's the suspense. It's it's the thrill of kind of you're not just gonna get it right there and then. So, like, these are massive keys in life, and I feel like a lot of us are failing with these. I feel like a lot of givers are just giving everything, like, there and then, like, do you know what, I'm just gonna give them everything, and then people are taking advantage of that. But why do you think they're taking advantage of that? It's because in life, we don't want everything there and then. Even though we feel like, we want that Lamborghini car parked outside our door tomorrow because we want that, even though we feel like we want £100 million next week, yeah, in the short term, we want that, but in the long term, we don't actually want these things. What we actually want is sustainable, graft and growth. Like, we want to work to get to that level, and then we want to sustain that level. We don't just want it there and then. Anything you get there and then for the short term feels fantastic. You might have got that Louis Vuitton bag, or I don't know, them Gucci trainers. That feels fantastic in the moment. Then it goes away within a day, couple of hours, and then it's on to the next buzz. So it's really important to understand givers and takers. It's also important to understand where you are as that person, whether you are a giver, whether you are a taker, whether you're a best of both worlds. And it's also really important to own up to these things, to be aware that if you are a giver, you have to be careful of takers, the wrong takers. And then also, if you're a taker, it's also important for you to understand that this is only small gains. You're going to take from these people because deep down you're hurting, but you can only take for a certain amount of time before you get taken from, or before you have that wall slapped in your face, and then you're like, wow, shit, actually, no, do you know what? This hurts. Like, ow, I'm hurting people. I'm hurting myself, because you can only take for a certain amount of time before it comes and it hits you like a train. Then it all comes back. Love, peace. Have a great day. And guys, listen, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Givers and takers. You already know what time it is. Yeah, on to the next one.